Welcome to the Safeguarding and Domestic Abuse sector, for professionals working in the world of safeguarding and domestic abuse, and for anyone who believes in harnessing the power of sector-led learning and improvement. The conversation unfolds week by week, season by season. In this space, expect to hear me talk about this work which has the ability to change lives, alongside having powerful conversations with those who are taking action and can inspire us on our learning and improvement journey. This is the Safeguarding and Domestic Abuse sector. So, welcome to today's broadcast. I've got a different style of broadcast actually for the next 3 broadcasts. I'll be calling them Reviewer Spotlight. And it might be for you if you want to become an independent reviewer, or if you commission reviews, participate in them, or quality assure them. So I'm going to say hello to Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Katie, may I ask you if you would introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, please?
Yes, so my name is Katie Fazal. I am a social worker by background, and I've been an independent safeguarding reviewer since last summer. So yeah, coming up to 9 months. My background is I qualified as a social worker in 2011. I've worked in community learning disabilities team, and then the vast sort of majority of my statutory social work career was in hospital discharge work. So I was a hospital discharge social worker and then later a team manager. And as part of that role, I sort of supervised staff, was part of service development, supported with complex cases, was a safeguarding adults manager, and was part of sort of situations where there might have been a situation where there was perhaps a death or a near miss, and we had to investigate that and refer that on. And then sort of later, sort of more recently, I had like a few changes that went on in my life. I moved across the country, had children, and was looking for kind of what was next with my career. I was ready to do something new, and I decided to become an independent social worker, or at least try it out and give it a go. That's been about 3 years now. And as part of the various things that I do in that role, I sort of met Donna at Community Care Live and found out a bit about the SILP methodology and was really interested, and decided to kind of go along that path, and add that to sort of what I do as an independent social worker.
That's a really interesting journey, because you're already independent and then it's adding things to your portfolio, really, wasn't it, Katie?
Yeah.
Sometimes we can only look back and piece this together, but can you pinpoint something that was in your background that you think led you into independent review work?
I think so like you said, I already came from it from an independent perspective. So I decided I wanted to try being independent. I didn't go into it thinking I'm going to do this particular thing. And I kind of left it to myself to just sort of see what opportunities came my way and just say yes to things, and give them a go. And also kind of have like quite a low threshold for saying, okay, I've tried that. It's not for me. I'm going to try something else. And so I kind of took on various different things. And I think the whole time what was missing for me was sort of a bit more of that overview work. I really missed working in, I think the nature of like independent work is you're often working on your own and you're doing your own assessments, which I really enjoy. But I was kind of missing that being part of the bigger picture, working together, working with other people, and sort of with those, seeing how those systems work together and sort of being part of, something bigger. And so that's what really sort of drew me to independent review work, was the opportunity to work with other organisations, to kind of use my skills from working in those settings before, my safeguarding skills. Sort of, I see myself as quite a collaborative worker with other people. And I thought that would be something that would really sort of stretch and challenge me. I like the idea of the attention to detail, writing reports, kind of really getting into things, but also looking at things holistically. I thought that was a really nice balance. And I also thought it seemed really positive, a really good way to sort of change things and make a difference.
Fantastic. I agree with all of those things that it is as well. So, what role did training and development play in you becoming competent to do this? I'm sure you could have done this.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in to be somebody that would like take this on to begin with, you've obviously got to have the background and the skills. But for me, I needed. I feel like the training was kind of invaluable. Really, I'm not sure whether I would have actually been able to make it happen without that. So. I did the SILP school, which kind of gave the background, gave me background into kind of sort of broke it down into like really manageable sections. It was sort of an hour a week, and sort of understanding the process, what's involved in it. But I guess for me that was just really the beginning part of it. It gave me sort of the background information, but the training and experience I've had later on has been what's really helped me to kind of take the next step. So sort of being part of the momentum community, having the training that's available, going on the mastermind day, the sort of success pathways, talk to other people that are doing it, and just kind of really take advantage of everything that's sort of available to me. And then since sort of having a review myself, being successful and getting one, it's all of the trainings, sort of every time I have a meeting, I'll go in and I'll sort of watch what I'm supposed, just to remind me of what I'm doing, and yeah, sort of picking out the bits that I need for that review, because obviously there's so much information. It's sort of yeah, just using it as like a library really for what I'm specifically working on now.
Fantastic. That's great. And then, Katie, a bit of background for this question. So I'm going to ask how it fits in with your your other independent social work, because sometimes when we're trying to balance in a consultancy, in our independent consultancy, there's one thing that made everything else just, the one thing was so all encompassing that we couldn't do the other things.
Hmm.
Seen that happen, and I know that can happen. So, what is it like do you have to be very disciplined? Do you have to say that this is how I'm going to structure my week? How does this work fit in with other work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still figuring it out, to be honest. I think it's sort of a work in progress. And yeah, it's kind of just I don't know anybody that doesn't have sort of the issues between having enough work, not having too much, not over agreeing to things, not under sort of agreeing to things. I think I just always try to think ahead. So I'm thinking, what am I doing this time next year? Like, what opportunities do I have coming up? And also, what things do I have that's going to be sort of going down? And then what else could I sort of put into that? So I'm just kind of constantly thinking about it in sort of a more strategic, longer term. But then my actual work, it tends to be booked in on sort of a fortnightly basis. So it then comes up as it comes up. So I don't really feel like I've got the answers, but I try and just go with the flow a little bit. I try and work really hard, do what I can, and then just sort of see what comes back. And generally, I've been okay. I've had you kind of, when you're in like an employed role, it's really guaranteed, isn't it? But I think the nature of sort of doing independent stuff, sort of December, January can be like a bit quieter, and then other months get sort of really busy. So yeah, I think it's just having a bit of confidence in yourself and also surrounding yourself with other people that are doing similar things, so you can get peer support and sort of reassurance from each other.
Fantastic. And I think, in my opinion, this is really good at being an expected date sometime hence in the diary, these reviews, aren't they? Other than the odd query and thing, we do know what to expect on a certain date. But it's if there's something else in our consultancy, I think sometimes that you just never know how that's suddenly going to get big.
Hmm.
So I found it really easy to fit in alongside other things, but that's an interesting perspective. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and I think yeah, I really that's another thing that really appealed to me was the fact that when you're successful in getting a piece of work, you pretty much know that when you're working on it for sort of the 6 months, it is definitely something that things do come up from sort of time to time that you need to kind of respond to quite quickly. So that's the consideration. But yeah, in general, it does fit in really nicely, and it has enabled me to, yeah, have a better idea of what time I have. And I think the fact that it is a limited number of days within a 6-month period, then you can, get a sense of like how many could I have at once while doing everything else, and how does that fit in with my role?
Definitely. Thank you for that. And with all of that bundled up, what would you tell someone who was considering becoming an independent reviewer?
I think I'd say definitely do your research, really think about it. I'd say that it's really good to talk to other people that are doing it and get other people's perspectives, and really get a sense of sort of what being an independent reviewer involves, what you'd be required to do, and really think about that.
Fantastic. And I think also, be open to challenge. Really, we've got to be open to challenge. I think it's even after all of this time, it's always a growth. It's always a development opportunity for me every time. I feel like I'm constantly growing and developing from each review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
which is really positive, and like it's not something that you get bored of.
No, definitely not. And I think, yeah, you're learning and growing from each review. And also when you do get a new review in, it spurs you on to do more training and research yourself to make yourself better. So it feeds into everything else as well that you're doing.
That's fantastic, Katie. I really do hope you keep going. It's been a week now since we finished the 5-day training that I ran called How to Leverage Your Skills as a Blue Light Professional to Establish a Successful Career in Independent Reviews. Now, whether you started it, didn't know about it, or just dropped off halfway through, I've pulled everything together from that training to make it into a bite-sized 1-hour offering. So yes, this is available on replay. We undertook the workshop yesterday, and that workshop is available on replay. If you are interested in establishing a career in independent reviews or adding independent review work to your current portfolio or upskilling in role, this may be the right recording for you to watch. So what I'm going to suggest is, if you think it's a recording that might be useful to you, to pull it all together in 1 hour, exactly what you need to know about becoming an independent reviewer, you can WhatsApp me. So I'm making a link available to you for you to WhatsApp me, and you can WhatsApp me the word replay. Thank you for listening. If this episode has been useful or enlightening, please leave me a review on iTunes. I'm always open to feedback, and I will really appreciate your review.